Welcome to this edition of Sit Down Sunday, Kingdom Things Podcast, Sit Down Sunday with me, your host, Ashley Nicole Phillips, spiritual practitioner, spiritual healer, spiritual creative, by the way of God, Goddess, Source, Essential Son, the Most High, whatever you like to call the force, the power, the energy behind beingness, behind all that is who ushered me into my role of being a spiritual healer, spiritual practitioner, spiritual creative. Now, in this episode of Sit Down Sunday, I am being guided to discuss the 2029 prophecy that was channeled through me from the Galactic Federation. What is the Galactic Federation? Humanity has been in the dark when it comes to our connection to this force, this family, this union of star beings, of beingness. The Galactic Federation is the overseeing, connecting, uniting, governing force of the star beings of our universe. So the collective of the star beings of our universe, the Galactic Federation, is the overseeing, governing force of the benevolent governing force of the star beings of our universe. Now, the 2029 prophecy channeled to me from the Galactic Federation is an invitation to understand where humanity, where the earth, where we are going as a collective, as a planet. We are re-entering the Galactic Federation. We are re-entering the union of star beings, star collectives, the collective of star beings. We are re-entering the union of the collective of star beings. Earth has been in the darkness to our connection to the other star, our star brethren. We are coming out of that darkness as we are no longer going to be left to our own wayward ways of being. Humanity on an individual basis in our personal lives, as a society, as a collective, as a planet, we are being ushered into divine alignment. Our divine alignment is our soul purposes, our soul, shining our true soul essence, being our true selves. Being our true selves. We are spirits having a human experience, spirits seated with the energy of the Most High Creator, with no beginning, no end. When we incarnated into the earth realm, we were stricken with amnesia. So we forget, when we forget in our earthly human form, we forget, what we are, where we come from. Dolores Cannon is famous for her work and bringing to light our truth. We are spirits, energies that travel from constellation to constellation, from galaxy to galaxy, from planet to planet, from star to star, to learn, to grow, and expand. So we are spirits, no beginning, no end, energies with no beginning, no end, seated with the energy of the Most High Creator, of the unconditional love of God, of the One, of Father, Mother, God, of the energy that creates and holds together and projects beingness. So our beingness, everything that we see, experience, and feel, that is God. That is God. Everything in existence is of God. So our true nature of being energies seated with the energy of the Most High Creator, traveling through star systems, traveling through galaxies, traveling through universes to grow and expand as light, as energy. Dolores Cannon is famous for bringing the light to this knowing of ours, this knowing that we all share. But when we birth into the human realm, we are stricken with amnesia, so we forget. We are no longer aware of our truest truth, of our benevolent unconditional love, of the benevolent unconditional love that we are as souls seated beings, soul-seated beings. So the 2029 prophecy is one that was channeled through me from the Galactic Federation. This 2029 prophecy is letting us know that we will be visited by other star beings from other galaxies. Star beings from other galaxies in our universe. Our planet right now is the only planet in the universe that has free will. So what does that mean? We're the only planet in the universe that when we birth into the earth realm, we have total amnesia. We're stricken. We are washed away of our knowing of our truest truth, of being, souls, energies that travel through space and time to grow and expand. We're washed of this knowing when we birth into the earth realm, and that is our free will. That is our free will. We are the only planet in the universe at this time that has a free will. And what we have done with this free will, what we have done with our free will, with the amnesia to the knowing of being a part of the one, being of and a part of God. Our amnesia, what we have created with our amnesia, has been a creation that has not only affected us on an individual basis, not only affect our ancestral lineages, but also affects, our solar system, our galaxy, our universe. I was given a metaphor to liken the planet Earth to the Rafflesia plant, the Rafflesia flower. It is a plant that emits. It's a parasitic plant, a parasitic flower that emits a foul-smelling odor that can be smelled from 10 meters away. That's the Rafflesia flower. And I was given that metaphor, likening Earth to the Rafflesia flower. Why? Because the energy that we have created on this planet, that we emit into the solar system, to the galaxy and the universe, is a foul-smelling energy. Like it's not an energy that's beneficial to the divine order of the one, to the divine order of the Galactic Federation of other star beings. So what we do here in our daily lives, what we do here on the planet Earth, it affects the other star beings in our universe. So we are going through a metamorphosis from being, the Rafflesia flower, we are morphing into something different. What will that different be? That is our decision. That is humanity's decision to decide what we do with our energy, what we create with being awakened to our knowingness of self. What will we do with the energies of our energies of the new energies coming into the planet as our solar system is moving into a different space in the space of what is. So we're being hit with different energies that humanity has yet to experience. So what will we do with these energies? What will we create in our lives? What will we allow ourselves to grow into? That will determine, what, humanity decides to transform into. So, 2029, humanity will be visited by star beings much like ourselves. I will say I was, informed that these, kaleidoscope. Let's imagine we're looking at, actually I'll put it right here, a kaleidoscope image, right? The kaleidoscope image, you see how the same piece of image imprint repeats all throughout the kaleidoscope image. That's what I was, that's how it was painted to me. That's how it was pictured to me. Humans, there are many humans in many spaces in the universe that are just like us with varying differences because of the different energies in the space of where they are. So there are many humans in our universe just like us with varying differences because of the different spaces in space that they are, and they dwell, they experience, they create in different energies. So they're slightly different than what we are. Their energies are different than what we are, but they're much like us. Now humans, what we've created in the past has created a shell that we encase ourselves in, that we only allow familiarity inside of our shell. Humans, we only allow familiarity inside of our shell. So anytime there's something that's unfamiliar to us that comes into our space, into our shell, we are stricken with fear. We're stricken with so much fear. Whenever there's something that's unfamiliar to us, energies that are unfamiliar to us inside of our shells, we're stricken with fear. That's something that we are being slowly walked out of, that fear. We're being slowly walked out of, progressively walked out of that fear. Why? Because these star beings in these other places, they carry energies that we've yet to be exposed to. So these star beings in other places, they carry energies that we have yet to be exposed to. So whenever we're exposed to something that we don't know, we get stricken with fear. We get stricken with fear. But it's nothing to dwell on, because it's understandable. It's not something that's not happened before in the space of what is. You know, we're not the first planet that's gone through this. Varying differences. There are varying differences in our experience, but you know, we're not the first planet that's gone through this. So as we transition into the neighborhood, I like to call it a neighborhood, like the neighborhood full of who got the wings at the cookout. I like to liken it to a neighborhood. So as we pull into the neighborhood of home of the other star beings in our universe, in our galaxy, in our universe, we're going to be assisted by these benevolent beings, because for one, you know, they have the understanding that we are them and they are us. So in the one, God is one. As I see it, God is one, is beingness, and we are all separate parts and separate functioning energies in the one, but we're all a part of the same apparatus, the same apparatus, the same beingness. So they understand that them helping us is beneficial to them, because you know, we are one. We're part of the same apparatus. We're part of the same functioning space. So them helping us is beneficial to them, as you know, we'll no longer emit those foul odors into the universe, but we'll you know, hopefully begin. I am optimistic. We will begin to create, you know, through our hearts, with unconditional love, with the understanding that I am you, you are me. We're part of the same functioning system, and what I do in my life affects you just as what you do in your life affects me. So we'll come to that place where we're able to have unconditional love for each other, no longer judging the slight differences, but understanding the slight differences are pretty cool. Oh, we're part of the same thing, but we're different too. What can I learn from your differences? What can you learn from my differences? And we can grow together, versus, you know, creating this false separation, these false guidelines of what right is and what wrong is. We can just come together and understand that we are part of the same system. We're part of the same environment, same ecosystem that affects you and me just the same. You and me just the same. What we do in our daily lives affects each other. What we do in our daily lives creates our society. Our society creates humanity. Humanity creates the assists in the balance or imbalance of our ecosystem of planet Earth. Planet Earth emits energies into our solar system, to the galaxy and the universe, that affects all other beingness, all other existence in the solar system, the galaxy, and the universe. So what are we fighting about? Like, let's come together. And that's the space that we're moving into. This is what we've chosen with standing together, choosing to stand together. This is what we have chosen, to come together and see our sameness, how we're more of the same than how we are different. Come together, grow together, love together, be kind together, experience together, to see how we're more of the same than we are different. So when the star beings from the other places, other galaxies step onto Earth, come into Earth stratosphere, into Earth, and to the Earth environment, their energies are going to be different. So it's going to be different. It's just going to be different. And at that point, we will be at a space where we are prepared for the exposure to those differences. At that point, humanity, we will be prepared for the exposure to those differences, the energies of the other star beings in our universe. So in 2029, humanity, we will be prepared for the exposure of the differences of the other star beings in our universe, as their energies are different, but guess what? We are part of the same ecosystem of God, of the One, the same apparatus of God, the One. I want to thank you so much for joining me on this installment of Kingdom Things with me, your host, Ashley Nicole Phillips, spiritual practitioner, spiritual healer, spiritual creative by the way of God, Goddess, Source, Essential Sun, the Most High, whatever you like to call the power, the force, the energy behind all that is. That is who ushered me into my role, realigned me into my divine alignment of being a spiritual practitioner, a spiritual healer, spiritual creative. When you're done here, click the link in the posting of the description of this video. You'll see my literary works. My other half is about two souls, two spirits, two energies, traveling through lifetimes here in the earth realm. They know that they're destined to create a life together, to co-create a life together. But we have these guidelines that we created in the past that we're transcending. But we have these guidelines that we created in the past that say what love should be, what love looks like, that we're now transcending. These two souls will transcend, hurdle, jump over these programmings, these restrictions, these illusions, and create a life together. Which life, under which circumstances? And then we have the story of Asia, which is about a teenage girl growing up in the foster care system in New York City. She is, like me and you, on this journey of realigning to her deepest truths, to her truest, most authentic self. The story of Asia, as well as my other half, and the link in the description of this posting, as well as Kingdom Things Podcast, where I channel Kingdom Things Podcast, where I channel messages from the divine realms of the One, benevolent divine realms of the One, and amalgamate the messages in the podcast postings. I want to say thank you so much for dropping in. We are in sacred times right now. Sacred times right now. Focus on you. Focus on loving on you. Focus on loving on you and the people in your life that reflect that love back to you. I love you. I love you. You have a great rest of your day. Put my mind to it, that's innate. Tell me I'm beside myself.